Hey, what's up, guys? Oh my God, sit down. Things just got real. Diddy's bid for a new trial, his last real shot at beating this, has been denied by Judge Arun. And baby, we got the docs, but let me tell you, it wasn't just denied. Judge Arun destroyed him. Baby, I know Diddy hate to see Judge Arun coming. But on top of that, I guess those letters from Cassie, Capricorn Clark, Chef Jordan, Mia, and Deontay, and Cassie's mommy and daddy, I guess they worked in a new ruling that has sent Diddy's team reeling. Judge Arun has flatly denied Diddy's bid for new trial and, of course, acquittal. Let's get into this, okay? Because there's so much to go over, but you guys, hold my hand when I say this. You never beat the house. You don't beat the house. And right now, nobody knows what Judge Arun's going to do. Nobody knows. But I'm going to walk you through the clues he's given us into what way he's leaning and the way we think it's going to turn out. But baby, let me tell you, this was Diddy's last real chance to get out of any jail time. That 14 months they're trying to, oh my God. Okay, so let's get into it. Where do we start? First of all, let's talk about what this ruling means. The motions were Diddy's last hope to erase and redo the guilty verdict. That's very important, you know. His band of idiots, right? Theirs was their last hope to erase and redo the guilty verdict. He tried two things. One, he wanted a Rule 29 acquittal. He basically said, Judge, the jury got it wrong. There wasn't enough evidence. He also tried for a Rule 33, which is a new trial. And this was his argument. Even if there was evidence, the jury was too prejudiced, so I deserve a do-over. They were both flatly denied. And get this, Judge Arun didn't just say no. He wrote a long, detailed takedown. It's 16 pages, y'all. He basically said, 1, there is plenty of evidence that Diddy paid escorts for Smex across state lines. 2, Diddy's legal arguments about redefining prostitution were nonsense, which we all knew, but I'm glad he put his common sense to the paper and said, can you stop playing in our faces? I think that after that jury let Mark Agnifilio, Brian Stowe, Westmoreland, Xavier, don't get me wrong, they were all excellent attorneys, but what they did and the arguments they made were morally depraved. But that jury bought it hook, line, and sinker. Judge Arun said, I'm not that jury. Please stop playing in my face. I know the law, right? And 3, Diddy argued the jury showed it could separate charges. Judge Arun was saying that the jury showed it could separate charges since it acquitted him on RICO and Smex trafficking, but convicted on the Mann Act. So the prejudice spillover wasn't a problem. And here's what everybody on Diddy's team is going crazy over. The tone matters. Judge Submarinian wrote like someone who wanted this verdict to stick on appeal. You know, Shapiro and Driscoll are going to be on the one. Those are Diddy's lawyers, are going to be on the 1s and 2s for appeals. They are good. They are sharp. In my opinion, they're all morally depraved. They are good and they are sharp. But you can tell Judge Arun's like, and I saw you coming from the door. He was writing like a judge that wanted this verdict to stick on appeal. This is 16 pages. He covered every angle, citing history, dictionaries, case law. That signals a judge who wants no wiggle room later. Baby, he went into history, right? And dictionaries and case law. This was a lot. Listen, for sentencing, what does this mean? The pre-sentencing report, that's what the probation office gave 5 to 7 years, 3 months minimum. The prosecutor said they want a minimum 11 years, but they think it should go up to the maximum. Now, here's the thing. Judge Arun already shown he's not sympathetic to Diddy. He made Diddy beg for courtroom clothing, denied bail conditions, and now issued a harsh written opinion. Let me just say, it wasn't without cause. The way that he's been telling Diddy to tighten up, it's not without cause. If anything, I actually feel like He was being super gracious to Diddy in the trial. And I feel like Diddy's lawyers ran with it. Here's the translation. The risk of serious, real prison time is very high. Judges often split the difference between probation and prosecution recommendations, but this judge has signaled he leans to the tough end. A lot of legal experts are saying that 8 to 12 years range is a realistic speculation for Diddy's sentencing. Now, again, the funny thing is about this, the prosecution just dropped their memo today. I did a whole live about it. Please go check it out. But we have to look at the highlights, right? 1, Diddy's Hail Mary flopped. The judge denied both of his "I didn't do it" and his "give me a do-over" request. The judge literally defined, Diddy, what you did is prostitution 101. The judge flat out said, "Smex for money is prostitution, period. Stop trying to rewrite the dictionary." Now, this financial motive excuse when Diddy was like, "Well, I didn't get any money for it, so how can it be prostituting?" Again, Diddy literally was simply arguing, "I wasn't in it for the money." But Judge Arun clapped back and said, "Congrats, you still paid escorts for smack." That's literally a definition of prostituting. And get this Diddy had a bilateral sex loophole. Diddy really tried to say, "But I wasn't the one having sex with the escorts. It was just my girlfriends that I beat to a pulp until they pleased me." Judge Arun clapped back and said, "Yeah, that's cute, but no, paying someone to sleep with your girlfriend still counts as prostituting." And that First Amendment spin Diddy was trying to make when he was basically like, "I was making art, like corn." He literally tried to say he was making art. Judge Arun basically said, "Sir, you weren't a film director. You were filming your own fetish. That's not free speech. That's a crime." And let's not forget the spillover pity card that Diddy tried to play. He claimed the jury got confused by the racketeering trafficking evidence. The judge literally said, "That's funny. It's funny how the jury acquitted you on those charges, but still nailed you on the Mann Act. That's called discernment, not prejudice." And the final vibe check, and you know he left us with a good vibe. He says, "This wasn't listen, let me just say this. This wasn't a gentle letdown. This was a slap down. One would even think it was a legal flamethrower." This opinion makes Diddy look like he wasted the court's time. This denial locks in the guilty verdict. Appeals are still possible, but appellate courts defer heavily to trial judges on sufficiency of evidence rulings. With prosecutors pushing 11 years and the probate report at 5 to 7 and a no-nonsense judge already on record rejecting every one of Diddy's arguments, the tea leaves point to some serious prison time and not the minimum, as all of Diddy's dozen crew of dummies have been spouting. You guys, again, this goes like a must-read quotables. Listen. Get this. The judge responded on, I'm just going to pull out some memorable quotes. I'm going to go live about it probably tomorrow morning to get our juices flowing. But listen, the judge on Diddy suddenly changing his mind about what prostitution means. The judge literally said, "Combs got it right the first time. The correct definition of prostituting in the Mann Act is smex in exchange for money or its equivalent, and that definition poses no constitutional problem." Translation, nice try, Diddy. You literally argued for this definition at trial, and you lost, and now you want a do-over? It's not happening. Because you don't remember in the beginning of the trial, Diddy's band of YouTube idiots that ain't getting any views and wannabe Twitter journalists that still ain't getting any money to get them out of living in that car. They've been arguing this, but they forgot to tell you he already argued this case and lost. On Diddy's excuse, "I wasn't financially motivated." Judge Arun, this is to quote, "Whether Combs himself was financially motivated never enters the calculus." Ooh, ouch. That's basically Judge Arun saying nobody cares about your wallet. You still trafficked people or brought people for smex. Diddy also, I wasn't the one sleeping with the escorts. The judge said, and I quote verbatim, that definition would narrow prostitution almost out of existence. And that's what I think Diddy was trying to do. He really thought he was doing a new world order where like Carisha Roulette, depravity, what's prostitution, what's rugs, let's get out and party, baby. Stop it. You ain't got enough money for this. Basically, the judge rolled his eyes. Literally said, if we bought your logic, even brothels wouldn't count as prostitution. Can you stop it? And let's not forget his famous quote when Diddy was filming art protected by the First Amendment. The judge said, at some point, it must certainly be true that otherwise illegal conduct is not made legal by filming it. And get this, on why this case wasn't vague or confusing, and I quote Judge Arun, paying an escort to have sex with somebody is exactly the kind of activity that a person of ordinary intelligence would have fair notice is meant by prostitution. I repeat, he said, it is exactly the kind of activity that a person of ordinary intelligence would have fair notice is prostitution. He basically used to say, Diddy, even a kid on the corner knows what you're doing is prostitution. Don't act brand new. Anyway, and the last thing about the jury being prejudiced, and I quote, it weighs heavily that the jury declined to convict him on any of the counts related to the conduct. Had the prejudice indeed been so great, one would expect a jury to convict on the most relevant counts before it could spill over and infect the others. Basically saying, Diddy, shut up. The jury literally acquitted you on the big charges. They weren't biased. They just thought you were guilty on these ones. Baby, the judge wasn't just ruling here. He was shading Diddy's disrespect to the court line by line. Judge Arun clerked for Supreme Court Justice. He is the youngest federal judge. The fact that they bought in these half-baked, I think, intellectual, disingenuous arguments in front of the court, I think it was disrespectful. Listen, again, Judge Arun basically just said, stop playing in my courtroom. Yo, what do y'all think? This was a scathing opinion. Scathing. It's just, we love to see it. Hey, let me tell y'all something. For all the people saying we didn't know what was going on, and by we, I mean us. For all the people saying, Diddy gonna walk, you gonna feel real stupid. Let me just say something. Things are looking up. And we love to see it because, thank God, Judge Arun appears to be moving us closer to a world where people recognize that violence is domestic violence and domestic violence is violence. You know, Diddy is having a meltdown. Thoughts and prayers to the rats and roaches in Diddy's jail cell. Oh, I know he making them do double time freak offs. Oh, God. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.